We have the midterms, David, and I don't know whether the rhetoric in the trade is actually just to win votes for the midterms or whether actually the saga surrounding the nomination of the Supreme Court, Mr. Kavanaugh, will change women's voters' mind about voting Republican. How do you see it playing out?
Well, I think the rhetoric of trade is really to change the trade rules, to bring it more into balance and for the U.S.'s benefit. Actually, it could be hurting votes. And it just, as a free market economist, I'm happy to see that the Democrat Party and the media has now become ardent free traders, because this is something that was lacking for a long time, and I'm glad they finally converted. But I don't think this is necessarily helping Republicans. In fact, it may be hurting Republicans, even though the objective is to deliver a more level trade playing field. But I think, it's all going to be about turnout in the midterm elections. We're, hearing basically most prognostications saying that perhaps that the Democrats are going to regain the House. I think if the middle America doesn't turn out the vote, there's a very high probability of that, because the left wing of the Democrat Party and of the non-Democrat Party, they are going to vote. They're going to have 100% voter participation. The question is that big bubble of middle America, are they going to vote? And I think if they do vote, the Republicans have a good chance of maintaining both houses. If they don't vote, they're going to lose one of the houses.
But what do they vote on? Do they vote on, the fiscal plans? Do they just vote on the economy and how much more money they have in their pocket?
Well, a lot of this does have to do with the economy. And finally, the U.S. economy in the last 2 years has broken out of its rut. And I think it's basically been as a result of policies that have focused on more flexibility in the economy, lower regulatory environment, or at least an attempt to lower the regulatory burdens on the economy, as well as the tax reform that especially impacted corporate investment. So these are the factors that have really helped and brought positive expectations. So people hire more, people invest more. This is what for 8 years was lacking. Again, back to Keynes's general theory.
David, I want to dive into Wisconsin politics. You know it extremely well as an identified Republican, and I think it's a mystery to a lot of Americans and certainly a mystery to our global audience. Tammy Baldwin out of Smith College is the senator from Wisconsin. She's out of the People's Republic of Madison, as you know it. David, how do Republicans buttress up against a Democrat tendency in your Wisconsin? Do they do it with talk show radio hosts that are hard Trump or even to the more populist side of Mr. Trump, or do they have to go mainstream like Mr. Thompson?
Yeah, I think what you're seeing in Wisconsin, by the way, it's a great test case, because you're right, Tom, there's a very progressive element to it. There's a very, middle working class, hard blue collar attitude in Wisconsin, and then you have, of course, a more conservative side. And I think whoever wins the hearts and minds of that hardworking, middle-class, blue-collar, white-collar battle, wins Wisconsin. And in the last presidential election, you saw Mr. Trump do quite well. The Scott Walker, the governor, has run he got recalled. He won, and then he got recalled. He won again, and then he won again, and he's up for re-election again. And I think the results have been extremely positive in terms of economic development in Wisconsin. It's very robust. It's doing far better than the rest of the country. And, you don't have these problems like Illinois has with these huge pension deficits and huge fiscal imbalances. It's a sound, growing place. And, part of it has been as a result of some of the Republican policies. But in order for the Republicans to have instituted those policies, they needed the support of that middle class, which they've got. And the question is this fall where that middle class will go. Again, we know where the Madison people will go. They're going to go to Tammy Baldwin and company. And the question is will the middle class, those people, come out and vote for the Republicans?